Welcome back to the AutoGuide Show presented by eBay Motors. We have a great episode for you this week. We're talking to Vaughn Gittin Jr. about his latest creation, the Ford Bronco RTR. Just back from a win at the Baja 1000, Vaughn explains what the Bronco RTR is, why it exists, and how it fits in with the Bronco Raptor. Then Mike Schlee joins me for his latest gear test, the Garmin Dash Cam Mini 3. Speaking of Raptor, Mike has been rolling around in the F-150 Raptor, and we'll stick with the off-road theme by breaking down my time in the Honda Passport Trailsport. That's all in the AutoGuide Garage. We'll close things out with the mailbag. But first, a word from eBay. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed up by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Joining us now on the AutoGuide Show is Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn, it's good to see you. Tell us a little bit about what this new Bronco is and what it does.
Yeah, well, aside from a dream, this Bronco is the most capable, fun to drive, and thrilling Bronco, just below Raptor. The only Bronco offering that would be, more capable, it would be Raptor. And this has been the culmination of well over a year of working very closely with the Ford Enthusiast Vehicles team and my team at RTR to develop such a Bronco, one that is built for and by enthusiasts, something that has the looks and the DNA of RTR and the racing that we do with Ford, and creating the attainability and affordability that only Ford can make happen at mass production.
So tell us about some of the modifications for the Bronco RTR.
Yeah. Well, aside from the appearance that you see, bringing in our Hyperlime styling, the, signature RTR grille with integrated lighting. When you get into the real nuts and bolts of it, aside from how bad it looks, maybe I'm a little biased, but one, it's got anti-lag. So for those of you that don't know what anti-lag is a way to get rid of turbo lag and give the driver the response that they want when they command the throttle, which is super useful in off-road. And I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like this is the first off-road production vehicle that has anti-lag. And I don't know the answer to that, but definitely, for an RTR. The other thing that we've done is we have the largest steering gear on it. So it basically has a Raptor steering gear. So for that strength, especially on high loads, when you're crawling or articulating a lot of load on the front end, it's got a really strong, steering gear or steering rack. We have enhanced the cooling system. Again, went into the Raptor parts bin and stole some parts from the cooling system to keep the vehicle cooler. Slow speed cooling, helping for recovery time, and when you're hot out there in the desert or any terrains. One of the things I'm most excited about is what we were able to achieve suspension and vehicle dynamics wise on our base vehicle. So the base Bronco RTR comes with high clearance suspension and a wider track. So the high clearance, the base suspension comes with the Bilsteins. This offers us roughly an inch more ride height than a standard Bronco. And then you can of course get the Sasquatch package. So the Sasquatch package of this vehicle gives you the 35-inch tires, Fox internal bypass, the lockers and things like that. And then the modular front bumper.
Got
So
it.
what you'll notice as a driver, right, the higher clearance kind of speaks for itself. You're not dinging and touching things when you're out there in the rough stuff.
Right.
You're crawling, you're going through rocky terrain, you're coming up over peaks and valleys, and you're not turtling out or rubbing the frame in the middle. The other benefit is the wide track, which we got with a very aggressive wheel offset. Not only did the aggressive wheel offset allow us to design a really bad wheel, but it also increase our track width, which gives you much better stability. For me, sliding around a little bit out in the hard pack, the vehicle feels a bit more planted, off camber turns, things like that. You just get more stability. And so, really have taken a lot of things that we've learned from racing, the Baja 1000, from the things that we do racing King of the Hammers, and brought that mindset and some of the, what I would consider like some of the more simple things to do, especially when you're working with Ford and you have all of this capability in the, in the portfolio, and basically built the vehicle that I would want.
Yeah.
They all come with the 2.3 10-speed auto 2.3. That motor was a conscious decision for the nimbleness and the lightweight and the vehicle dynamics. So it's very much a driver's Bronco. It's very much, a looker's Bronco, someone that wants something aggressive. And, you can buy this Bronco and you don't have to take it, to get it ready to go off-road. You can just take it straight, or you can use it as a slate to, personalize it as you would.
And you mentioned this, so this slot's below the Raptor, and you're kind of pitching this as more of like an accessible Bronco for people who want a lot of off-road capability, but a little bit of daily driver, and it's less expensive. Kind of talk to that there's a little bit of a wider net here with this Bronco.
Yeah. The Raptor, in my opinion, is frankly, is the most capable in the Raptor portfolio when you consider its ability to rock crawl and do the tighter stuff that the others can't. But Raptor has its place. It's a little bigger, it's wider, it's not for everyone. Not everyone's worried about that maximum speed. And so to have a vehicle that can give such an incredible experience and make sure that you're not left stranded and make you feel like a hero is what the goal was here. But again, the key of the entire RTR lineup here at Ford with Mustang and Bronco is attainability. Like I'm an enthusiast to my core. And we have our spec vehicle line, which is vehicles that we get from Ford, we build, and then they go to dealers and they're pre-title. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
The Mustang and Bronco is anywhere from $70,000 to well over $100,000. And so for us to be able to come out with something like this, even though we can't speak of pricing, people are going to be shocked when they realize what they can get for the value.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe worst of all, wait for hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? That era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and DIYers. Because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs and trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital. So you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership. No more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle, plates, and paperwork shipped to your door, ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed up by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling your ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too. Because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still owe on your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated, so you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast. And you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the fifth still available message. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups. Buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carbel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. You have been tuning Fords for quite some time. I'm dating myself. I was at SEMA, like '09, somewhere in there, when you pulled the cover off of a car way back.
Yeah.
So this is like, whatever, 17 years later.
Yeah.
Probably both had less gray hair. Talk about like, what it's been like working with Ford and what it's been like just kind of really getting in, not just racing, but now you're like a legit, car tuner. And, what's that been like, that sort of journey?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. When I started RTR, it started with the passion to make Mustang cool again to a younger generation.
Yeah.
When I got my first Mustang, I wasn't a Mustang guy.
Yeah.
And I have a unique perspective of why, it was losing cachet. And I just had a passion to make it cool again, because I feel like it was such a special vehicle.
Yeah.
And that, once I got into that and grew my brain space, I'm like, I just wanted us to do really cool with Ford.
Yeah.
Like, I personally have a undying passion to win on and off the track with them. And so going from like starting RTR as like a dealer installed package where we would, send dealers a literal pallet and then they would install it, to now having our own, bailment where we get vehicles, we have upfit partner that builds them and they go to dealer, and then having a true collaboration with Ford. This was always in my vision.
Mm-hmm.
I was always like, we're going to get there. Yeah. And it just took us doing all the things, the special vehicles, we built Ken's Unicorn, building all of our race cars, and really Ford seeing our capabilities and our approach and passion and commitment. Yeah. Both ways, that we kind of know what we're doing, but also that we are just Ford. We've never built another product for any other vehicle other than Ford vehicles. Mm. And so it's been really enlightening, because, for the past 15 years, call it, we've been doing it on our own. Yeah. And I never really had like an inside look of how Ford does things. Sure. And so it's been really fascinating to see how this company has been game changing for over 100 years, approaches the business, how they do things, how they test things. And so it's been a lot of learning. Yeah. But a lot of like very much juxtaposition, because we're a little more smaller, scrappy, nimble of a company versus company Ford. Yeah. Right. And so this project was really like a mesh of both of our strengths. Yeah. Right. For instance, like we did the wheel design. Yeah. Ford's never made a wheel so quickly, and so, like our grill, we were a lot of studio or collaborating with studio on this project. And so it was really fascinating to really get in deeper than we've ever been, and I've been working with Ford now going on 20 years. Yeah. So we, really assessing the business from being my, putting my business mind on and really understanding how they do things. Yeah. It's fascinating. And there's a lot of learnings of things to do and some things to avoid, when it comes to like slowing things down and stuff like that. And so, but we challenged the system. Yeah. And every step of the way, they really appreciated it. Like they appreciated the perspective, and they challenged us, and we appreciated it. And it was just a really, really cool team effort that we extracted the passion. And, this vehicle kind of had some benefit because we had already worked through each other with the Mustang, which there was a lot of learnings, Mustang wise, this is the second time Ford's ever done a collaboration at this level. With Bronco, I think it's the first. And so, but we had similar teams aside from like the core engineers, but when it was studio wise, and Ed actually was the Mustang program, chief engineer when we started the Mustang. So, but what I'm trying to say is that we kind of had a little bit of flow going when we came to do Bronco, but the mindset has never changed, right? It is build a badass, fun to drive, thrilling, attainable vehicle. And now we have Bronco to go with Mustang. And, Yeah, it's just it's an absolute honor. I mean,
Yeah.
this is it's not lost on me what this means,
Yeah.
and the validation for, my team and RTR and what I've built. And it just started as passion.
Yeah.
I had no business plan. I just wanted to do cool straight
Yeah.
up. And that's all I've continued to do is just live like not by my accountant,
Yeah.
but live by my passion for automotive fun.
Yeah.
And here we are.
You, if I'm not mistaken, Carroll Shelby is like the only other guy who's done sort of the in-depth relationship with some of the Ford products as you have. Can you kind of speak to what it's like to be like literally here we are at world headquarters behind the curtain? That's got to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's so hard to put into words, because like I come from a perspective of like it didn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
I've been working at this for 20 years, so
Yeah.
like I'm not surprised because it was always real in my head that we were going to be here. But I do have to say, there's been multiple, tears come to my eye when I come here, and I got people like Farley hitting me up and just being like, "Man, like you guys are doing such a good job," and people like yourself that come up to me like, "Dude, you're only the second person in the world to ever do this," and but for me, it's just flattering and humbling and an honor, but all of those things are very secondary for the pride that I feel of what we're able to produce for the customer. I'm on the ground all the time. I see what we're able to do and offer people from vehicles, whether I give them a ride or they just see some of our creations, they're just like so mind blown. And so for us to be able to create things that people are actually going to be able to get behind the wheel and feel the effort and hopefully make them feel like a superhero and make them feel included in something that's bigger than them is a very special place to be. And that for me is the reward over any of the other things that come along with programs like this.
Very cool. Very cool. That's Vaughn Gittin Jr. You're listening to the AutoGuide Show. We'll be right back after this. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed up by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Okay, it's time to bring in Mike for our aftermarket gear segment, the Garmin Dash Cam Mini 3. I feel like we've talked about a couple of dash cams on the show recently. Mike, how is this one?
Oh, don't worry. We got many, many more dash cams to go over the coming weeks. But hey, that's good, right? We're trying to give consumers the advice on what's good and bad about dash cams. Garmin, well-known name. You'd be hard-pressed not to know someone who had a Garmin GPS handheld portable unit back in the day before they all showed up in cars. I think everyone in my family had one. But they also do the dash cams and many other products. So this one specifically, I actually requested. Usually companies reach out to me and say, hey, you want to review my latest dash cam? And if it's something new or different, I say yes. This one I went after because Greg, like me, we have unique jobs. We are going car to car, week to week. Not everyone does that, but I wanted a small, easy to install dash cam that I could put in every press car I have. So if anything happens, I have the footage. So this camera is very small, as the Mini name would have you believe. It's only a few inches tall, wide, deep. I specifically got the Garmin accessory suction cup, so it's easy to put on car to car as opposed to having one of those sort of more permanent mounts. And the goal is every week I can just put car to car. Now, the use case, besides what we do, is there's a lot of people who travel a lot and they get a rental car sometimes multiple times a week, sometimes weekly, sometimes once a month. But whatever, it's also good to have a dash cam for them because, especially when it's not your car, if something happens, you want to be able to cover yourself. And this one would easily fit inside any sort of computer bag, briefcase. It works just like a dash cam, as it should due to its name. It records actually in really good quality. It has the same sort of automatic save alerts. There's one button on the back because it's so small, but that's the save button if an incident happens. If it gets shaken hard enough, it'll auto record if it detects a accident. It works just like any dash cam, and then the quality is actually really good, and it all goes on an SD card, like most of these cams, like a micro SD card. Being so small, you are going to have some limitations. There's no screen on the back, so you can't see what's happening as it happens. You can stream it on your phone live if your phone's in the vehicle with you. That helps you get it set up angle-wise. The download from the camera to the phone is actually quite slow. It doesn't have the fastest Wi-Fi speed set in, but being a chip, if you have a reader, you can just pull it out and put it on your computer. So otherwise, it does all the basic thing the dash cam could without any extra frills, but it's like a fourth the size. And as I said, very easy to move around. And with the suction mount, which is also very small, it's very portable. So yeah, someone who needs a portable multi-use dash cam, this is a good option. If you're looking for a permanent solution in your car, you probably want to spend some more and get a nicer unit with more features.
Sometimes it's nice to get something that's just very straightforward. Like, you don't always need a Swiss Army knife. You need something that does basically one thing well, and it's portable and accessible and adaptable. So that sounds like what this is. Plus, you get like the Garmin brand, the name, obviously very strong. I've used a bunch of their different products, from their watches to fitness equipment. This sounds kind of interesting. I mean, for someone like me who does get in and out of a lot of test cars, Mike, you've sort of educated me on the purposes of a dash cam like this. For me, this would probably be the one for me, because it's portable, it's easy. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to shoot the next like Scorsese flick, like from my dashboard. I just you need a camera. So this sounds pretty back to basics.
Yeah, so it's available, and like you said, the Garmin name's a huge part of it. Like, this is one of their lower priced products, but also, and we'll get to it in a couple months when the weather gets nice again, I have like a 4-figure performance recorder from them. There's this giant unit, and it's like, it records everything you would want on when you're lapping for a weekend fun. So yeah, Garmin, you're getting quality parts with it and the name to back it up. They're not gonna, in a month if something goes wrong, no longer exist. So that's a big plus too.
All right. Sounds good. So that's our gear test with Mike. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be right back after this. We're going to go inside the AutoGuide Garage. All right. So we have both been driving some interesting things as far as like a bit of an off-road thread. You a bit more serious than me. You have the Raptor and I had the Passport Trailsport. Why don't we start with the Raptor? I mean, let's just be real. People love Raptors. What did you do with this thing? Did you go to Baja? What was your week like with the Raptor?
It's funny you say more serious, because I really feel like I'm not getting to drive it the way you should, because I live in the middle of the third largest city in North America, and I'm in the suburbs where it's flat and boring. But I do have the OG Raptor, the F-150. This is just the regular Raptor, not the Raptor R. So I have the turbo 6-cylinder, not the big V8. Still makes ridiculous power. The valved exhaust, I can make it loud, louder, and illegally loud. It's what you expect. The reason I'm driving it is that it isn't much different, but we haven't driven one in years. So I wanted to see, does it still have what it takes? Because we've driven Ram RHOs and all of these AT4X GM models and whatnot. And you know what? It's still everything you think. I went on a couple, I guess it's months ago now, about the Bronco Heritage and how I just love the way it drives and the big knobby tires. I mean, this is very similar. Luckily, today and earlier in the week, we've had snowstorms. So that sort of lets me test it more and where it excels. It just laughs it off. I mean, these aren't dedicated winter tires, but the mud and snow all-terrains just chew through the stuff. I mean, the ice, you got to be a little more careful, but like any modern car, there's a million drive modes, and it took me a while to find the combo, but when you set it in the right settings with the stability and all that, and the four-wheel drive system, it is a blast to just slide around in the snow and whip around. And for its size, it takes some I wouldn't say skill, because that makes me sound like I'm a better driver than I am, but this isn't, you just get in and you can slide around like some cars and make you feel like you're Colin McRae. Like, this is an advanced tool. It's meant for people who know what they're doing, and then if they can get the max out of it, they can get the max out of it. And it took me a while to sort of ramp up my learning curve, and I've gotten there now, and I can just imagine what this could do in like real hardcore off-road situations, because there's some roads here that are terrible, and it just laughs them off ride comfort wise. And I can just imagine if you're just whipping across dunes or slowly crawling rocks. Snowbanks are everywhere because we've had a terrible winter, and just drive right through them. Like, who cares? Downsides, it is massive. I have to drop my son off at school, and it's a very tight parking lot, and I've caused a couple traffic jams trying to get in. Luckily, again, half of that lot's kind of covered by snowbanks, so I can just drive 2 wheels up on them and get by, which entertains the kids. I'm sort of the highlight of the drop-off right now for all the grade 5s and under. But yeah, it's just a cool truck that's way overkill for probably almost everyone who buys it. But if you get to take it where it's intended, even once or twice a year, it's totally worth it.
That's a pretty succinct way to, put it right there. If you do get to use it, even if it's just occasionally, it is totally worth it. So that sounds like a lot of fun. I've always had a great time when I've driven the Raptor, even for just like short local loans here in the fleet, or some Ford things. It's always such a party. It really is. And I think Ford was kind of like they helped reinvigorate this segment by bringing back the Raptor name and just making it this special thing that like we're talking about. I think they're trying to get there with some of their other trucks, like the Lobo. I'm looking forward to getting into one of them later this spring, if spring ever gets here. But I mean, to me, they've really created an icon, is a cliche, right? But I'm excited about this truck. I can't wait to drive another one. So, and I actually think they also do a good job with like some of the details, like Raptor interiors. They look cool. Yeah, it's nice. They do some things. So,
and I got all the graphics packages on the outside, which is one of those vehicles, like a lot of like a Charger or a Challenger, like it's fine on those vehicles because that's what it is. Like you don't feel it's tacky. It's sort of like an Nismo Armada I had recently. But just one last point I want to make, because you kind of got to it, is I don't know what it costs in the US. I have to look it up again. I think it's around the 80,000. In Canada, it's 6-figure. But it's one of those vehicles where it's that much money, yet you don't feel bad if you go and abuse it off road. It's like you're paying a lot, but the people who can afford it, it's like that's the point. Is I'm paying crazy money, but I don't care if I destroy it. Whereas like a G-Wagon and some other real expensive vehicles that are Range Rover, you're never going to take off road and get scratched. This thing, it's like, okay, I'm sinking all this money into it, but it's going to be able to take the abuse. And if I scratch up my fenders or rip off some cladding or dent a skid plate, who cares? That's part of its charm, and it's just cooler for it. So good on Ford on succeeding, or getting that sort of right combo where, it's pricey, but you also don't care if you bash it a bit.
The base model in the US starts at about $79. I just looked it up, which I would argue, and this is with the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. I would argue it's worth it. I think you get a lot of stuff for it. Full-size trucks are expensive right now. They do some significant things that do make this more capable, more special, more fun to drive. So I think it's worth it. And then if you get the Bronco R, because you mentioned you had the plain old, Raptor R, you had the plain old Raptor. It's like, I mean, do you even need that 5.2 liter V8? I mean, that's where you get into 6 figures here in the US, and that's an expensive truck.
Yeah, like the Raptor falls into 2 categories. One, people who really can use it, like they're going to beat on it pretty good on their weekend just for fun, like people who have memberships to off-road clubs and off-road parks, or people who do need the capability day to day, like they have to climb up the side of a mountain every day. And then the people who just want the look, like maybe they're going to go down a cottage road once a year and feel like that's off-roady. And I think that's where the R is more. It's like, look, I have the Raptor and I have a supercharged V8. Like no one who's going to use it regularly probably will even want the supercharged V8. Like you want it. You feel worse if you spend an extra $30,000 for your thing. You're going to, constantly be putting new shocks and bits on. So, and you don't need all that extra power to climb over a rock at 2 miles an hour.
So I think that's an excellent segue to my vehicle for this week. I tested the Honda Passport Trailsport, which is, I think, an outstanding vehicle for if you want to go down your cottage pathway once a year. It's extremely comfortable for that expressway drive. But then once you get there, with those big knobby tires, the extra ground clearance, you just cruise right over that bumpy terrain to the cabin in the woods, which is exactly what I did. I actually tested a couple of different Passports. This is kind of at the end of last year, so I kind of mush them together. One I did take, as we say here in Michigan, up north, like 4-hour drive, 75, the family, the dog, all the stuff we take with us, comfortable, not a problem. That 3.5 liter V6 is great on the highway, decent fuel economy. It's fine. And then once we get up to the UP again, as we say, where things are a little more like rugged and uncut, this thing looks right in, does not look out of place. It's a tough looking SUV. It's got that truck kind of vibe, and I think that's very cool. So I really liked it. Again, then later in the fall, I actually drove it. It was sort of my commuter vehicle for North American car, truck, and SUV of the year testing, because it's that sort of group test is like kind of it's out there. So you want something that's comfortable and good to drive. And the weather can kind of get squirrely in October around here. So again, you wanted something that might have some capability. So this really fit the bill on all counts. Comfortable seats, lots of interesting like design cues inside to give it that sort of trail sport vibe. Honda has done a good job with the trail sport trim, I think, across its lineup. I think it's a golden age almost of like trail sport, wilderness, some of the other ones out there, as far as like, if you want something that's like an off-road vehicle, most companies have something for you. And this one, you don't really get a ton of upgraded capability here. But again, just being in this like sort of squared off SUV with this like vent in the headlights, a vent in the hood, it looks the part. But you do get these, like, again, knobby tires. You get the ground clearance. It's easy to drive. It points where you steer it. It's there's a number of different drive settings, which I think can make it, more capable or more efficient depending on how you want to drive it. So again, for both stints, I really enjoyed it. The most recent one I drove was the Passport. This is the Elite one, which was actually it was about $54,000. It was loaded up, and again, worth it. I think when you consider the average price of a new vehicle is close to 50, depending on what's going on in the world that day. I think something just north of that that's capable. You could put your whole family in. You could load it up, and it's good in so many different situations. I think it's worth it. If I looked at some of our various competitors, almost all of them have this thing near the top of its segment. And I think that's telling. I think auto journalists can suffer from groupthink, but also we're often right, like we sort of know what we're talking about. So, there's other things in the segment from like the Bronco to the 4Runner that can make things a little more like really, truly capable off-road. But at the same time, I think this is a nice mix. It kind of gives you something that's comfortable, but again, very drivable. I put this up there, like the Toyota Land Cruiser is another one in this segment. But yeah, I got a ton of stuff in this thing too, for like both stints. Like literally I filled this thing up and like had to like manually close the lift gate. It was hilarious. I have actually like a YouTube short of it that I need to bring back up. So I really liked it. I think when people ask me like, I'm thinking of a Jeep Wrangler or something, I say, hey, that's awesome. If you want to get a Wrangler, more power to you. If you're going to not really do that much off-roading, you might want to look at this thing, because it's not that it can't do the off-roading. It's that the other 90% of your life, you're going to be way more comfortable. So I give this thing a really strong evaluation. I've really enjoyed it both times I've driven it. I actually was surprised it didn't win North American SUV of the year. I kind of thought it might. I was a little surprised it didn't, but strong vehicle. So have you driven a Passport lately?
Yeah, I've driven the Passport Trailsport. My first Trailsport ever was actually the Pilot. And things you're saying, I agree with. I was surprised at the tuning they did with the suspension and all-wheel drive system that just made it far more confident feeling on just even like a gravel washboard road with the tires. And to your point about the off-roading, it's so true. Is people think you need the most hardcore thing to do the most basic thing. Like, people would be amazed what a stock Subaru Crosstrek or Forester Wilderness could do. It could climb places that people would be convinced only a built cheap off-roader can. The difference is it'll do it once or twice, and then they won't want to keep doing it because you're straining suspension and bushings and other components to its limits, and you're ripping off bumpers, and just like it's fully capable. So with off-road, it's sort of not, I need X capability. It's, I need this much capability that can repeatedly take the abuse. And that's sort of where this new class of wilderness and trail sport goes. These cottage roads that a regular trail sport and a regular Outback could go on, no problem. But after your 50th ride, you might start wearing out your busher. You might start leaking a strut or something. They're designed to take that extra abuse. And then if you need to go places where they could rock crawl, but after 3 or 4 rounds, you start damaging stuff, that's when you go up to the Raptors and whatnot. So just like a track car, right? Like you can track in a Accord, but after a couple laps, the brakes and tires are going to be screaming for their life. Whereas that's why a Porsche or a Corvette are designed to be able to handle that better. So yeah, it's a good spot, I think, for people who need to regularly tow, especially, or carry families on beat up roads, and it's not going to destroy your transmission because they usually have extra coolers, or your suspension or your tires aren't going to just have chunks of rubber come off because they're not designed for the sharp rocks. So Honda does a great job. Not everyone, I'm not going to name them other names. There are some other brands in this space that don't do it right, but Honda's one of the ones that's doing it correct. And like I mentioned, Subaru, and as you said, it's sort of a mild off-road golden age where everyone needs a rugged something. I mean, there's hardly an SUV out there that doesn't have a knobby tire option, even if that's all it is. So it's just the trend right now. And yeah, Honda's cashing in properly, and the Passport just looks cool. So good.
Yeah, I mean, I like, again, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think it's a solid vehicle. You know, it's a good family vehicle, but you can also have some fun with it. So it is a golden age for off-road-ish trims, if that's what you're looking for, which it does seem like that's what everybody's looking for. So, all right, so that is what we've been driving in the AutoGuide Garage. We'll be right back with the mailbag. All right, so the news this week is we had some Tesla Roadster patents surfaced. Mike, you were kind enough to write that up, but one of our users asks, what is going on with the Tesla Roadster? And the answer I think we have is, well,
good question.
We're not totally sure. They did tease it out
question.
a few years ago, and there is that like teaser that was floating right out there. And then we're seeing some patents, which patents are interesting. When you're sort of trolling the patent rolls, it could just mean they're keeping the name. It could mean they are doing it for like toys. Like a lot of times you'll see things like the name Chevelle will be trademarked, and you're like, oh yeah, that's for like a Hot Wheel or something, or a Matchbox car. So we don't really know. They haven't said they're not doing this. They did say they're not doing the Model S and Model X. With Elon Musk, you always take what he says with a grain of salt. We'll see when those things actually sort of muster out or get their honorable discharge, as he said. I'll say this, on the list of the like Toyota products, I'm not sure this is very high as far as like what would pay the bills or is important, but Tesla also hasn't had a real runaway product hit because they don't really refresh their products all that much. So a Roadster would definitely kind of, start a new conversation about Tesla. So I don't know, 2 years, that's going to be my, like, I'm going to throw a dart against the wall and say maybe in 2 years we see a Roadster and it might look like this teaser. That's about all I got. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I'll start with the prediction. My prediction is more cynical.
Okay.
Roadster's never coming.
Okay.
It depends. It's funny how it depends on who you ask that question to. Tesla, I wouldn't say a fan, but like a believer would say like they've already ordered theirs and it'll be here any day. A Tesla detractor would say, like I said, never, but I don't mean it and I'm being negative to Tesla. It's just you look at what's going on right now. As you said, they killed the Model S and the Model X because the sales had slowed down so much that they were being classified as others in their quarterly reports. And the others include the Cybertruck and the Semi. And those were the last two great revolutionary products that Tesla unveiled, and neither caught on like the brand had hoped. Someone who really understood the industry could step back and take a look, knew neither ever were. But like Elon Musk is the greatest hype man of our era. And he had built it up and his supporters built it up that, it was going to take down this and that. Like one of the things was it was going to take down the F-150 Lightning. Well, I guess technically it's outlived it, but none of those vehicles were ever going to outsell anything. So I just don't get, like, he is a businessman and he understands money, how a Roadster at this time is going to make sense for the company. They've said time and time again, they're going into their humanoid Optimus robots, and that's where the company wants to go. So I don't see them getting another niche, low volume vehicle that it's not its own platform. Everything's kind of built together, but it would need dedicated tooling all around. If you were to tell me they were going to bring out something else built on the 3Y platform, okay, and maybe the Roadster could somehow adopt off that. So maybe. But I really think this whole patent thing is what you said, is to keep their intellectual property. It might be used for toys, video games. It might just be because they want to keep the door open on it. It might just be for branding other things. But yeah, I don't think this is a telltale sign that Roadster's right around the corner. I think we've kind of moved on from that, but the company's never going to say we're not going to do this. So yeah, I just think it's keep from other people stealing our thunder type deal.
I could, you mentioned using like an existing, like a Model 3 based Roadster. That actually sounds pretty good to me. That could be a lot of fun. You could even use the Model S sort of layout and make that like a Grand Tour, like a Mercedes SL fighter. There's a lot of ways you could unpack this, but I don't think any of them are super, super likely. Plus I guess they could always call up Lotus again.
That's the thing with Tesla specifically too, is any other manufacturer that's cars or their bread and butter, and like that's what they do. If you look at that platform and you're going to build a derivative, I mean, we were just talking about earlier in the show, Tesla could just print money if they made a square bodied off-road version of the 3Y platform and sold it. It would become probably their best-selling vehicle. Yeah. But Tesla doesn't do things like other people do. So maybe they will build a Roadster instead off of that platform. But I mean, if you put the tires off the Cybertruck onto a small little 2-row SUV that's the same footprint as the Model Y, I mean, that would, I can't imagine that not being a success. But no one knows what Elon's going to do next, and that's sort of what's given him his success. So yeah, I mean, the Roadster could be announced before the show goes live for all we know. So that's us not answering the question, but that's about all you can do.
That's just us, I would say, speculating. Like it could happen. We don't really think it is going to, at least not anytime soon. But hey, thanks for asking. So that is all the time we have this week. Thanks to Vaughn Gittin Jr. for hanging out at the top of the show. You've just listened to the Auto Guide podcast presented by eBay Motors. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.